In today's video, we're going to be diving into the upcoming pattern, taking a big look at the entirety of all the storms that are upcoming, all of the tropics, and all of that cold air, which we do expect to consist and really persist, is what I meant to say, through at least about the 15th. We do see the model showing a warmer time frame, perhaps between the 15th and about the 20th, but we do have some model guidance showing some long-range cooler air moving in for that latter portion of the month of September. So every single day, I feel like we get more and more confident that September is just going to go down as a colder month overall compared to what's typical. That's just what I've been seeing consistently here. Looking at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, speaking of here from the National Weather Service, we can see from September 12th through September 16th, we do expect warmer conditions for the Northwest into a lot of the central states. That's the current theme for this mid portion of the month. We can see that the two areas that look to be cooler is going to be this southwest region here for California, Nevada, and Arizona. This is mostly coming due to some storminess that is in the area. Typically, September, August, October is their driest portion of the year here in the West. So when you do get clouds, when you do get storms moving in, it is unusual, and that can bring cooler temperatures as compared to, sunny days. And that's enough usually to pull down the average temperatures. I think that is the main reason we're seeing cooler air trending in for that area. For the eastern seaboard, we're going to continue to see a pattern that is mostly featuring a ridge here over the central states and then a bit of a trough here in the east still hanging out. The jet stream won't even be lifting up that far close to the coast. We do see some backdoor type cold air, and essentially what that means is that it's coming maybe directly southward or even from the northeast up there in eastern Canada. We would typically call that a backdoor cold front or backdoor cold air. That is what we're seeing primarily here, again, in the mid portion of the month. Looking at the 8 to 14 day period here, which will be September 14th through 20th, we can see that we overall warm up for the western and central states, but continue to see cooler air being the trend here along this eastern seaboard all the way up until the 20th. Really, really substantial for the East Coast to see cooler air this long of a time frame. Looking at the past 7 days of temperatures, this is going to include the final day of August and then basically the first 6 days of September. It is worth noting that it has been warmer for some areas of the eastern states, and it looks to remain that way for at least the next day or two. We are going to cool right back down after that is said and done, though. Here's the overall past 6 days, though, or past 7 days, my bad. And we can see, again, a ridge has been pretty dominant here over the west. We call that a positive PNA, and it really forces this cooler air into the central and eastern states, and we can see that in full swing effect here for a lot of these areas. Looking at the storminess, you might notice we kind of skipped over our tropical segment at the beginning of the video. That is because we went all the way from a 70% chance of tropical development in the middle of the Atlantic all the way down to a 0% chance as of today. We have seen that storm get decimated by trends further and further south. We've seen that system slide further and further south. So it's not just the outlook that looks further south. It's actually the actual location of that low was moving southward, and that becomes very, very unfavorable as you get closer and closer to South America in areas just further south than we typically see that tropical activity at. It just really hindered the chances, and I have never really seen a 70% chance down to a 0% chance overnight like that. Maybe when it's very close to the coast and it doesn't develop before hitting or something, but being out there in the middle of the open water, that just melted away at an impressively quick speed. Really, really crazy stuff. Now, with all that being said, look at the entire upcoming pattern. We can see for today, there's a lot of thunderstorms across the deep south. Along the eastern states, we've seen this happening. I saw huge delays happening in college football. You guys know I love sports. We saw, I think the Georgia game got delayed. I want to say the Clemson game got delayed. That's the big two ones that I know of. But we had a lot of delays due to these severe thunderstorms. And I don't know if you guys caught that Thursday night football game, you probably did, Eagles Cowboys, that one got delayed as well. So we've been having a lot of thunderstorm related sports interferences. I've definitely noticed. Now, as we take a look at what happens by the time we're reaching tomorrow, speaking of NFL, as we get all those Sunday games going, we can see a lot of the Southeast is still going to be experiencing some of these thunderstorms. We can also see some of the Northeast here. Now, I forget if New England plays in New England or if they play out there in Las Vegas, but that might have implications. Texas, southern Texas, seeing some thunderstorms. And then the Rockies do have some showers around. Overall, not the busiest day in the world. We can see by tomorrow this full-blown ridge and trough pattern that is ongoing. There is still a little bit of southeast influence for these areas. It will be a little warmer in that southeastern area for sure. As we just keep going towards Monday on the 8th, a lot quieter. I mean, Florida and Georgia seeing some thunderstorms perhaps, but really hard to find anything else outside of there. Maybe the plains seeing some pop-up thunderstorms, some of the Northwest, but, really quiet here. Tuesday, we get these thunderstorms really close to the southeast, but most of them are offshore as of now in the model guidance. This could trend a little westward, and we could see a little bit more rainfall for these coastal locations. But as of now, on this particular model, not super concerning or anything. It doesn't look too rainy for most areas. Wednesday, very similar. We do see some action happening out west, as we mentioned. Those areas are seeing some pretty rare dry season rainfall happening, and it's a pretty large amount of it happening as well. It adds up day after day, because Thursday here on the 11th, we see continued precipitation out west. And again, Florida is the only place in the east really seeing anything significant as far as rainfall. So very dry in the east, very active in the west. Here Saturday the 13th, I think we skipped over the 12th here. It looks the same though. Here's the 13th, and we could see some activity, especially for the northern Rockies, northern plains, and upper Midwest here. But again, outside of that, very, very quiet. Moving forward, as we reach towards Sunday on the 14th, we do see a low taking place here across the Great Lakes there to the north of the UP of Michigan. We can see some thunderstorm chances are going to be happening here around for the plains, Ohio Valley, Midwest, Great Lakes. That's going to be something to watch for next weekend, perhaps. This is getting pretty close to the long range, but this is something we're going to monitor for sure. We have a little bit of time to think about it, though. Looking forward towards that Monday afterwards, it's a very slow-moving system. It kind of just breaks up here. Similar to our tropical system, it just kind of sits around and breaks up. We do see that frontal boundary more extended to the east now for the Ohio Valley, parts of the Mid-Atlantic, and then a lot of Canada up there as well. Looking at the Four Corner states and some of the Rockies and Plains here, overall we are seeing some showers and thunderstorms as well. Looking towards Tuesday the 16th, we start to see a little bit more action for similar areas though. Northern Rockies, central and northern plains, and then some of the central Midwest, I guess is what I would call it. We're seeing some thunderstorms and showers being possible here. Wednesday the 17th, very, very similar. Thursday the 18th, we kind of get this extended eastward version of what we were talking about. So now including kind of the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast, but again, pretty similar. Friday the 19th, nothing to write home about. Saturday the 20th, and really we end off the model run on a fairly similar note. So nothing switching up too much overall. Total precipitation because of that is going to be really good for some of these areas across some of the central plains, central Midwest, into the Ohio Valley here, as you can see. Also the Great Lakes. We could see the western locations doing really good as well, but the main lack of precipitation is going to be found in this area here, especially the deep south and southeast, where we're nearly seeing no precipitation from today on the 6th all the way to the 21st. Really, really bad, especially for areas that did not see thunderstorms today. Just a really bad outlook. And looking at the precipitation anomalies, again, a lot of the west does good, and then into that plains, Midwest, Ohio Valley region, doing above average numbers here. But we do see for a majority of the East Coast and also into the Gulf Coast, just not a lot of precipitation and almost none in some of these locations. Just a really, really huge lack overall of what would be considered typical. It's already a drier time of year too, I think is worth noting. So Just really, really impressively low numbers as far as precipitation. Looking at the temperatures, we can see this cooler air moving in. It's going to fully move in for most areas by Sunday into Monday. So here's the 7th, looking much cooler than normal. We talk about this all the time, but the greens are 10 to 15 degrees below normal, which I consider this time of year in the fall to be about 1 month ahead of schedule is a good way to look at it. Most areas are dropping by about 10 degrees on average per month. So again, about early October temperatures for most of these areas. We're not super hot out west. We're more neutral than anything in the United States. Most of the hotter temperatures compared to normal would be in Western Canada there. And that's why we're still getting that positive PNA effect, because it's Pacific North American oscillation, not Pacific United States oscillation. So that goes for a lot of Canada, even Alaska, and down into Mexico as well. These areas all play a factor. You like to see a warm column just build across all of it to force this cold air into the east. But as you can see, you don't need it all the way built through to get this impressive cooler air moving in, even early on in the season. Here's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're still holding on for the East Coast all the way by the 11th here. We start to see more of that cooler air mass set up for the Southwest, though, and that does start to play a role, and it really starts to bring in some warmer air, especially into the central states, as we saw in some of the outlooks towards the beginning, really breaking up the overall, like, much cooler than normal pattern. And it continues to break that up all the way through this model run, all the way until the 21st. We don't end up with anything nearly as impressive cold air-wise as what we saw happen a lot earlier on. Now, as we move on to the GFS model, things are going to look a little bit different. We get this cooler air moving in. It sticks around again for quite a long time, much longer than the European model. This is the 17th, 18th, and we still see some for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast here by the 19th. So this is definitely lingering longer on this GFS model. And then we end up getting a massive trough moving down into the east after the 20th here. So if this GFS model is correct, we will see a fully developed positive PNA popping up here all of a sudden, and much cooler air into the east later on in September. It's important to note this is the long range, so take it with a grain of salt, but this is how we initially see things oftentimes, so it definitely should be considered a possibility at this point. Now, with all of those things being said, be sure to subscribe because we upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.